Good morning, and today is going to be pocket sixes. We are early position. We open raise, and we get two callers. One caller in hijack, one caller in the cutoff. Hijack's playing 33-7, so let's look at ranges. Here's my early position range. Sixes are kind of at the bottom. Yesterday we had small pocket pair, and we were on a table where there were a lot of loose callers. This one we don't have those number of loose callers, so I don't think there's any reason to shy away from raising sixes. But we do have this player. He's playing 84% of hands over 95 hands. This guy's probably going to call. That could argue to tighten up our range just slightly because we're out of position. And sixes could be one that we drop. However, sixes are it is a pair. So starting with this guy, we've got 33-7. Looking at notes, we've got a 3-bet range of ace king. We've got called 2 bets from the blinds with like king 10 off, queen 10 off. Limp called raise with ace 9 off. So I've got called 3 bets out of position with king 4. I put together a range kind of like this. I assume queens plus ace king is going to be the 3-bet. Kind of matches this 2% stat, 2 out of 85. I think you've got these pocket pairs in his range. You've got these broadways. Probably less of these suited connectors and one gappers. Less like the suited aces, suited kings. Probably in this position is what I would go with it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's got more of these suited aces, suited kings, and less of these connectors. This other guy, I'm just going to give him huge range, which is just kind of moved the bar up and took out queens plus ace king. So we are good for the flop. And the flop comes down 6-4-3, so we flop trips, which is pretty decent for us. Can we check and expect to raise? I think that could be a viable play. We've got fold to c-bet stat 67, 50%. So in position, he's at 67%. This guy's at 40%. This guy's going to have a lot of hands. I think there's a lot of cards that are going to connect. Unfortunately, he only has 11.6 big blinds. So it's going to be hard. If we're going to make a lot of money, we really need to get this guy. So on this board, we're going to miss a lot. You can see we're going to have overpairs a lot of the time. But then our draws are really going to be our flush draw with some gut shots. I mean, we do have ace 4, ace 5 in our range. So I don't think we're going to be betting everything. I do think a set of sixes is a hand that we could bet here, make our c bet. And the reason I say that is because this board shouldn't hit us. If we have an overpair, that's another story, but this is a dry board. I think we're going to get called a lot. And I do see it. I think we are usually called a lot. So why not start building the pot with our set? I chose to check this here, which I also think is probably okay because we're out of position against 2 players. And again, it's kind of a dry board. I think if we check, we're checking basically our entire range here without really c-betting, and it's because we're basically just out of position. Again, that's the whole deal. We're out of position. It's going to be hard for us to really play here. So let's see if we can narrow our range here. Yeah, I think middle pair is probably a check. And our overpair, which ones would we bet? I think I messed up. I do think we should have c-bet this. I think we would c-bet sevens. I think we would probably c-bet aces, and maybe if we have the ace of spades. Or maybe we use those as a check. Maybe use those as a check and more likely to bet those. I don't know. Let's just say we're 100%. Let's leave our entire range because I think that's probably what we could do. Everyone checks, so I think this guy probably is going to check as well. Everything. This guy doesn't seem to be aggressive at all. He does donk flop with top pair better. So I kind of think if he could have I'm going to eliminate straights and two pairs and over pairs from this guy's range. We're going to leave everything else for him. He's got sets, I think. And I think we've got everything. I think this is just a board you can kind of expect everything to be checked. 5 connects, which is not the greatest. I mean, the run out's bad. I think once we checked, we're going to have to be checking again. Probably again. I think the entire range, even with the straight, you hate to do that, but I think even with the straight, I think what we're looking for now is once we check that flop, we're going to use those hands as like a check raise. We're going to use our straights as this check raise and use some of our flush draws as also the check raise. So everyone checked. At this point, I think that guy is definitely going to bet a straight. I think set's probably still in his range. Probably. This guy definitely, again, we're going to eliminate the straight. We're going to leave everything else in here. 4. 4 hearts gets there. At this point, we can't wait. We should be betting. A full house. I think we probably bet the straight. Definitely, I think a full house. I think it's too late now. And we bet the pot. And I guess it's okay. It's betting that it does kind of look like we're trying to steal the pot at this point. So at least I like the bet. I think based on everything we have, I think we bet our full house definitely. I think maybe middle pair we bet just kind of as above. Actually, no, not middle pair. Just some of these nothing hands. I think aces we do have, some showdown value. I think the straight we probably bet as well. So we've got full house and straight. That's 9%, and then probably our nothing hand. We're looking. Whoops. Let's change that color. Looking at maybe something like a. Like king, queen, king, jack. Those are. We've got four hands each. Probably not the spade. Probably not the spade, but I think we go for those just as our bluff. And we get one call. We don't know what this guy has, but he's got so much nothing in there. This guy, when he calls, I mean, could he have quads? No, he doesn't have quads. Could he have a full house? No, I think he just raises. So maybe an overpair. I mean, maybe he has a straight. I don't think he's calling with just like ace X. So we're just going to go with that. We see the showdown. And he shows king 7. So he actually had the straight. So if we go back to here, we assumed he would be betting the straight. He didn't. And we didn't have king 7. We didn't assume he would call with that. So I do think we make a note here that he does call with that king 7 suited. That's good to know. We mentioned, well, is he more of these suited connectors or more of these big suited cards? So called 3-bet, call EP, early position, 3 big blind, RFI, and hijack with king 7 clubs. Middle guy, and then check, call 100% on a 6 clubs, 4 spade, 3 spades, 5 of clubs, 4 hearts. All right, so we got that. I think we definitely screwed this hand up. I think we should have bet. I think we should have led bet flop. I think we have some hands that we could easily kind of protect our trips with. I don't think we can necessarily go for a check and hope for a check raise in this case, and I think that's probably what I was hoping to do. Kind of fancy play. I don't think either of these players look like they have a lot of aggression in them, so hoping to check and then raise them on the flop isn't that good. I think there's draws. I think he probably calls on the flop, which would be kind of unfortunate because he turns a club and a straight draw. So if we bet and then he calls on the turn, I think we probably check. I'd be afraid to bet and then have to call a raise. I mean, when we think about what hands does he call, yeah, the 7. We would put like 6-7 in his range. We had that, but I think if we go back and let's change the board. What he was calling with, we know he did like the king 7. If he did that, I'm saying all of those suited aces, and then possibly the suited kings. Get rid of 9-10. Yeah, it probably has that. So maybe something like that is his calling range. Knowing that, I probably kind of put him on the spade draw. So maybe we do continue betting with our trips. I do think it's a valid hand. I think all spades call. Yeah, I like that better. C-bet and then bet the turn, because all spade draws are still going to call. 5 got there. Yeah, if he's got a king 7 like this or ace 7, so be it. I mean, those are just a couple combos. If he raises, just kind of we'll have to decide, what we call. If he raises big, I think it's going to be hard for us to call. We're drawing to, basically to the full house, so it would be 9, 10 ounce total. So probably would have to call that check raise. And then when that 4 gets there, possibly we check to him and hope he bets, hope he shoves all in. I think it is just too, if we bet the flop, bet the turn, call, check raise, and then lead the river, I think that makes it too much like we have trips. So I think this hand was a mess up. Kind of hard to analyze GTO, but in a three-way pot, I think this is we see bet. I think we expect to get quite a few calls, and then we bet the turn and probably call any raise that happens, and then we get lucky on the river. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.